Hey everybody, welcome to K Talk. Yesterday we talked about narcissists, and today I want to talk about sociopaths. And even though they are different, they can have a few similarities. And I really couldn't relate yesterday to have dealt with a narcissist because I never really have. I do, however, have a great deal of experience dealing with a sociopath. And I was married to one. My first husband was a complete sociopath, and I haven't talked about this really to anyone. I don't, for sure. I've never talked about it in public because I wanted to protect my children. My children are grown now, and I do believe that a story as important as how to deal with something like this is very important because I had nobody that I could talk to when it happened to me. And I had to fight and claw my way out of it. And I didn't have a whole lot of support either. I had my family, my parents, but that was it. So what are some of the traits of a sociopath? Well, they will manipulate you into thinking that you are the problem. It doesn't matter what you said, what you did. You're the problem all the time, or somebody else's, because they can't take responsibility for their own decisions, for their own behavior, for their own actions. A lot of them have dreams of grandeur, where my ex was mad that he wasn't a millionaire by the time he was 30. And because he wasn't, even though the rest of us go, well, most people aren't, right? That's kind of normal. But because he wasn't, it was my fault. See how that worked? But if we go back to the very beginning, I had red flags, and one of them was that I was given an ultimatum. Well, if you don't move to New York, then you don't love me, and we'll just have to break up. So I was given the ultimatum, but my young mind thought, but I love him, and if I move, then he'll know I love him, right? And once they got you, that's it. Now, the first year or more was fine. But once that first kid came along, and I have talked to a bunch of women, and I can't say I've talked to men about this. I'm sure it goes on in both sexes. But when I talk to other parents or moms that have gone through this, their first thing was, yeah, that happened to me too. As soon as the first baby came, they changed. And what happened is I started subtly when I was pregnant. Why does everybody pay attention to you? I'm like, I'm the one that's pregnant. Then the baby came. Why is everybody paying attention to the baby and not me? I'm the father. And you go, but everybody pays attention to the baby. It was just beyond reason. But you discounted it because maybe they brought up their past and you felt bad that their childhood wasn't so stellar, or their father was kind of mean to them. The family yelled a lot. There was some dysfunction, so you feel bad for them. But then as time goes by, then maybe child number 2 comes along. And what happened with me is that we'd made a decision that if the baby came out looking like him, we'd name it the name he wanted. If the baby came out looking like me, we would choose the name I wanted. Well, she came out looking like me. And because I went ahead and named her what I wanted to name her, because that was what we'd agreed on, he threatened to not pick us up from the hospital. So it wasn't, I want to say, abusive physically early on. It was more head games, emotional, just mean, just downright mean. And then as time goes on, you begin to deal with this on a more regular basis. It isn't just a once a month thing. It's probably a few times a week. And as the other person who thinks this is completely crazy, but you don't want anybody to know because it's so humiliating and embarrassing to begin with, that you walk on eggshells to try to keep the peace. But it doesn't matter what you do, one little thing is going to set them off. And the difference between a sociopath and a narcissist in this way is a narcissist will humiliate you no matter where you are. If you're in front of a bunch of people, the better. But a sociopath won't do that. They will humiliate you and degrade you in private because they need to keep up the facade for everybody else that they're so wonderful. Because God forbid you talk to somebody about this, all they can say is, Oh no, he would never do that. He's so nice. He's such a great dad. Meanwhile, he didn't want to parent the kids at home. He was very attentive in public so people could see that. But it was a facade. So then, when things start to escalate, you can get to the point where you're just kind of lost all respect and you're kind of checked out. And what happened to me was when I was pregnant for my third baby, it was Christmas. My parents came to visit us. We lived in New York. And my parents saw a lot that time they were there. And he was so humiliated that they saw the real him that when they went home, he had to teach me a lesson. So he threw me out on the front stoop in the middle of a blizzard with 8-foot snowdrifts. I was literally pregnant and barefoot in my pajamas. And he left me out there for like 20 minutes. Wouldn't let me in the house because he had to prove and show me that I had done wrong because my parents saw him for what he really was. That was my fault, number one. And number two, that I would never let them come back and see me, which was a controlling part of it, that he slowly made me he manipulated me not to have friends anymore. And then it was manipulating me to keep my family away. And so things like that. I mean, it took me many years to not flinch if something moved quickly by my face because of having a fist in my face in the middle of the night because I had the audacity to say, "Can you please roll over? You're snoring." A sociopath is a control freak because their life is so miserable and so out of control that they have to control you. They want to control what you wear. They want to control where you go, who you see, and what you do. And a lot of the time, if it's a husband who's doing that, they want to keep the wife at home, period. No friends, no car, no way to get anywhere. That's the more put away you are, the better. And to get out of this, it takes, first of all, a lot of strength, a lot of thought, because once you do, they're coming after you with everything they got. And it isn't because they still love you. They'll say that. But because you had the audacity to leave them, they will make you pay. And I was told that. Because you left me, I'm going to make you pay. I'm going to make you pay for leaving me. Well, what else is there left to do at that point? But they go after the kids. And so then you have this terrible, terrible, god-awful child custody thing going on. And you're fighting for your kids because they know that that's your world and that's all they got. They don't care about parenting. They don't care what's absolutely best for the kids. They care about using the children as weapons. And I hate that because it hurts the children so badly that sometimes that's stuff that just sticks with them forever. But this person doesn't care. They don't care about the child's outcome. They don't care about their future. They don't care about their mental stability. They don't care about their emotional stability. All they care about is winning and making you pay for leaving them. It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. And then when you get to the point where you're done and you're removed, they still try to upset you and get under your skin and press your buttons. And it took me a long time to say, you know what, if you can't talk to me in a respectful way, I'm not talking to you anymore. During this conversation, I'm ending it. Goodbye. And that was it. And it took years of doing that before my ex would stop trying to press my buttons. And just talking about it kind of is that trigger that you feel emotion come up a little bit, because even though you've moved past it, when your mind goes back, you do relive a lot of that emotion, and it's very hard. It's so hard. And so I'm sorry that this video ran long, and I want to talk about it more in the next video. So please comment below, because this is the whole point of K-Talk, is I really want to help people past a lot of things. And if we can work on it together, I think that would be great. I didn't have anybody at all. There was no Facebook or anything like that. And everybody didn't have a computer in their house back then. And so now that we kind of have all these wonderful technologies at our fingertips, I think it'd be a sad shame that I went through something so horrific and I didn't shed some light on it. And so we're going to talk about it more in the next video. And if you've ever dealt with a sociopath, please leave us a comment and let us know your story and how you dealt with it. Okay? I gotta run. I'll talk to you later. I love you guys so much. Bye-bye.